One of my possibly many controversial opinions about game dev is that you shouldn't make a devlog. But I haven't really gone in depth on why I don't think you should make a devlog, or why I don't think most people should make a devlog, especially if their goal in that devlog is to generate wish lists from players. And generally speaking, the number one reason behind that is that the audience for most devlogs, as far as I can tell, are not players, they're game devs. And while a game dev may buy your game or wishlist your game out of pity for you, or because they enjoy it, because they're probably gamers too, you would be much better off working with content creators who already have an audience of players, like streamers or YouTube creators who do Let's Play videos, than trying to build your own audience with a devlog. There are some other reasons why I think devlogs are not a great idea if your goal is to generate wishlist or to generate game sales. One of those in particular is that the style of devlog that's popular now is highly produced. And even though I make 2 of these videos per week, I don't do a lot of production in these videos, and that's why I can make 2 per week. They are time consuming, even at a low amount of production. When you go to the style of devlogs that you have to make to be popular on YouTube and get a lot of views, they have tons of animation, they have tons of things popping out at you all over the place, and that takes a really long time to do in video editing, especially if you're new to video editing. That's another thing that's going to distract you from working on your game. It's another thing that, while maybe you'll get a wish list or 2, it's probably not worth it, in my opinion, to do those. If the goal is just to generate wish lists, then doing devlogs, especially in that highly produced style, are really not a great use of your time, and it would be better spent just working on your game and contacting content creators. However, I do think devlogs can be a useful tool for you, even if your goal isn't to go for max views in that overly produced style, because it gets you some practice editing video, it gets you practice recording stuff all over the place that you're going to need probably anyway if you're posting it on socials or if you're trying to put together a Steam page. Most of you are probably going to make your own trailers, and getting that practice editing videos and making them sound good and making them engaging is a good thing to practice, and the more practice you get, the better videos you can make. So that is a pretty compelling reason to try to make a devlog. Having a venue to talk about your game and to get feedback on your game is another possible reason that you should consider making a devlog. You don't necessarily have to make it in that overly produced style. You probably won't get as many views as the most popular YouTuber or devloggers out there. Now, whether or not you're actually going to get views on YouTube or any other platform if you don't follow that highly produced style, I have no clue. And for the most part, most other people don't either. The YouTube algorithm is mysterious in what it chooses to show people and what it chooses not to show people. So that's one thing to keep in mind about this. I do think there is some advantage to putting those devlogs together if you can get together and get a core community of game devs who can give you feedback on that and give you feedback on your videos and give you feedback on things moving in your game. Another possible advantage of doing devlogs is that it gives you just one more opportunity to talk about your work and to talk about your game. Talking about what you're working on, talking about your game in a convincing way that makes people want to engage with it and makes people want to go out there and maybe play that game or buy that game is a skill. It's a skill that you can build up, and it's a skill you have to build up through practice. So one way to practice that is to do it in your devlogs. You don't necessarily have to, again, follow that highly produced style that's really time consuming. You could do these as quick things. You could even try doing them as shorts. By doing those devlogs, it is getting you practice in talking about your game and talking about your work so that you can get better and better over time. Most likely you'll get feedback in one very particular way, and that's that you'll get views or you won't get views. In some ways, that has a lot to do with the title that you design, and has a lot to do with the thumbnail that you design, but it can also, as I've learned, be about your videos. If your video has crap audio, like some of my past one did, then views are not going to be great. People are just going to bounce, and you'll see that in the analytics. So that's another place where you can learn about making content, which in my opinion, as a game dev, you are a content creator. You just are not necessarily creating YouTube content or creating TikTok content. If you just want to practice video editing, or you just want to practice making videos about your game, then I think it can be a good avenue. I think it can also be a good habit to get into, to just record stuff about what you're working on and about your game, which you could do with or without making a devlog. But if you're recording all that content, just put it together into something and get it out there. The worst thing that happens is that nobody sees it. And if you do happen to build up an audience around that devlog, then you'll have people that you can go to and talk to about the game that you're working on and get a little feedback on it. So all in all, my opinion is still that you probably shouldn't make a devlog. It's probably not worth your time. if your goal is just to make wish lists. If you want to do something else like practice your video editing skills or get better at video editing so you can make better trailers, I think that's possibly a good way to exercise it, because it's going to get you into the habit of recording things that you're then going to turn into videos, which means you have a bigger pool of stuff to pull from when you need to make a game trailer, when you want to make a post on socials, or any of the other little bits and pieces that you're going to sprinkle about when you're talking about your game during development and during release. That last one probably help you get a little bit of practice in pitching your game as well, and if you can build enough of an audience, you may get some good feedback. That's all I got for today. If you've got an opinion about devlogs, or you think that there may be a better reason to do or not do devlogs, let me know down in the comments. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. See you next time.